Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Tuesday evening lesson here on our YouTube channel. As usual, we're going to carry on with preparation to the Congress that we have in February. If you're new to the YouTube channel, feel free to go over the semester 1, 2, 3, Introduction to Kabbalah, Introduction to the Wisdom of Kabbalah courses that we have here. And if it takes your fancy, you can always go to Kabbalah.info and join like-minded people from around the world at the KABU Academy. In the interim, though, we're going to go through some selected excerpts in preparation for this February Congress. And if you have any questions as well, you can shoot them through, just like we always do. And if you, like I said, are interested in any further learning, you can visit our Kabbalah.info website and get in touch with the guys over there. So these are from excerpts that we've studied before in previous congresses. And we're going to start from excerpt number 1. This is the words of Rabash. From the Purpose of Society 1. We gather here to establish a society where each of us follows the spirit of following. Sorry, I'm just going to take that again. I'm just setting up the screen. Okay, let's read that again. Excerpt number 1. We gather here to establish a society where each of us follows the spirit of bestowing upon the Creator. And to achieve bestowal upon the Creator, we must begin with bestowal upon man, which is called love of others. And love of others can only be through revoking of one's self. Thus, on the one hand, each person should feel lowly, and on the other hand, be proud that the Creator has given us the chance to be in a society where each of us has but a single goal: for the Shekhinah, the divinity, to be among us. All right, as usual, let's read that again. We gather here to establish a society where each of us follows the spirit of bestowing upon the Creator. And to achieve bestowal upon the Creator, we must begin with bestowal upon man, which is called the love of others. And love of others can only be through revoking of oneself. Thus, on the one hand, each person should feel lowly, and on the other hand, be proud that the Creator has given us the chance to be in a society where each of us has but a single goal: for divinity to be among us. All right. So, as usual, one should always remember why one is studying. This is really crucial because if I don't know why I'm studying, or sometimes what happens is we lose track of why we do things. And in the wisdom of Kabbalah, that's a no-no. All right. So, we must always know why we're studying. We must always know what we want to get from the study, what the objective is. This helps us to sharpen up our intention all the time. And it also sharpens up our attitude and how we address the work, how we take part in the work. So for all of us, there must not be any other purpose for being in the group except to reach a state where all of us are just in a desire to bestow to the Creator. Right? There is no other reason for the group to exist because the wisdom of Kabbalah is only and only to come to a higher level of consciousness where we have contact, a mutual feeling between us and the Creator. And from that relationship, we want to bestow to the Creator, just like the Creator wants to bestow to us. So, an authentic group, which means studying authentic Kabbalah, has only got one objective: to reach the purpose of life, which is to bestow upon the Creator. So, what do we have to do, right? So, if we want to attain such a goal, first question is, okay, we've got the goal. We may still not know what it is, but at the end of the day, we've got plus or minus some definition. So now the next question, what do I have to do to get to that goal? How can I attain my goal? And we must begin with bestowal upon others, which is called the love of others. And this is why we're studying in a group. Wisdom of Kabbalah has always been studied in a group. So if you study in a group, then you can practice what you want to attain. And this should be logical, right? Because if I want to attain anything in life, I need room to practice it. And here, what we're trying to attain is a state where we love others. So how can you study the love of others if you got no one to love in front of you, right? So the whole idea is, the whole trick is to make sure we have a group of friends who have the same objective and we're all working on the same principle. And love of others can only be through revoking of oneself. So how can I love others if I revoke my self-love? Right? So he's very nice. This little article is nice and short, but he starts with the objective. He starts with what I have to achieve, and then what I need to do, and how I'm going to do what I need to do. Right? So I have to love others. So how am I going to love others? By revoking one's self. What is one's self? One's self-love. Thus, on the one hand, each person should feel lowly, because the more we try to love each other, we're going to realize how egoistic we are, and that should make us feel lowly because we're so far away from what we want to attain. That's why we feel lowly. And on the other hand, be proud that the Creator has given us the chance to be in a society where each of us has but a single goal: for the Creator to be among us. So on the one hand, I understand I'm very egoistic. I begin to reveal that in the study. The more I try to love others and the more I revoke my self-love, I begin to understand that I am all self-love and zero love of others. So that's a bit of a bad feeling, and that's why he says we should feel lowly, okay? Which means being far, feeling that I'm very far from what I want to attain. But on the other hand, he says I should be proud that the Creator gave us a chance, that we have an opportunity here. And it's a window of opportunity. It really is a window of opportunity because not everybody gets it. And many come and also many leave. And you see that many who have left, they don't get a second chance. So that window of opportunity, you're either in or you ain't. And once a person is in, a person needs to make good use of that opportunity. So for that, we should be proud, but that doesn't mean, well, pride doesn't mean that we're above anybody. It's just that we've been given a chance because the system, this reality, requires us to be corrected. So we have a job to do, which is to contribute to reality in our corrected form rather than in our egoistic form. All right, so it's kind of like our queue is up, as they say. All right, so, and that's why we're in the game. And this is why we have to fulfill our role. Excerpt number 2. Rabash. Each of them had a spark of love of others, but the spark could not ignite the light of love to shine in each. So they agreed that by uniting the sparks would become a big flame. Right, so let's read that again. Each of them had a spark of love of others. So this means that all of us had and has a dot in the heart. Right? This is really crucial because if a person has to have a desire to do something. All right, if I don't have a desire to do something, would I go and do it? Okay, I wouldn't. Even if we do the things that we are compelled to do, like sometimes we don't want to go to work, but we go to work. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's a matter of a paycheck, isn't it? So that's life. We do things because we get something in return for it. And the spark of love of others, that dot in the heart, is a necessity if a person wants to attain the meaning of life, because the spark in the heart, the dot in the heart, is a desire to attain the meaning of life. That's what a spark of holiness inside everybody is. So if a person is awakened and is now seeking that goal and wants to achieve that goal, then what do they need to do? Since they don't have enough power within themselves to ignite this, they agreed to unite. When we unite, it's like we have enough fire and we've got enough flame to grow the fire. So a spark on its own is not enough to start the fire. But if we have a bunch of sparks and we're all excited about it, then inside us we can light ourselves up a little bit. And then that will become a big flame. Big flame means that basically we want to grow our desire. From a small desire, we want to make a big desire, and that fire should be engulfing our whole heart. Right? So we should all be sizzling hot by the power of the group. All right. Excerpt number 3. You guys stop me if there are any questions, okay? So here's another question from, not questions, excerpt from Rabash. Okay. There is a condition. When they gather, each of them should think that he has now come for the purpose of annulling self-love. It means that he will not consider how to satisfy his will to receive now, but will think as much as possible only of the love of others. This is the only way to acquire the desire and the need to acquire a new quality called the will to bestow. And from love of friends, one can reach love of the Creator, meaning wanting to give contentment to the Creator. It turns out that only in this does one obtain a need and understanding that bestowing is important and necessary. And this comes to him through love of friends. Then we can talk about fear, meaning that one is afraid that he will not be able to bestow contentment to the Creator. Again, step by step, easy peasy explanation. Rabash is really doing us a favor, and he's the only Kabbalist who has really taken the time to put everything into, like, I don't know, baby food mode. All right, it's like, here's your, here's the baby food little by little, have your snack and get spiritual. Everything is just very clear. Let's read this again and then we've got a question. We'll check it out. There is a condition. When they gather, each of them should think that he has now come for the purpose of annulling self-love, right? So it's like having a little, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things to do list in your pocket. Okay. So you're going to meet the friends and we've come together and the purpose is annulling self-love. So it means that he will not consider how to satisfy his will to receive now, but will think as much as possible only of the love of others. Okay. So I know what to do, what to think about. This is the only way to acquire the desire and the need to acquire a new quality called the will to bestow. So he's exactly telling us step by step with easy actions how to have a desire and a need to acquire a new quality called the will to bestow. And from love of friends, one can reach love of the Creator, meaning wanting to give contentment to the Creator. It turns out that only in this does one obtain a need and understanding that bestowing is important and necessary, and this comes to him through love of friends. Then we can talk about fear, meaning that one is afraid that he will not be able to bestow contentment to the Creator. Actually, we should have the same kind of fear among the friends. We should be afraid of letting them down on the path. Because where there is love, there must be fear. All right. It sounds contradictory, but it isn't. If you love someone, you should also be afraid of hurting them. All right. So without fear, there is no love. Love without fear cannot exist. Okay. So they need to be together. Rightio then. Farhat's asking, the Creator gives some people the intention to give, and some of us cannot stop being in the desire to receive. How can we calibrate in the community when we have no choice but to be in complete unity? The only way to calibrate is to reduce my self-love as much as I can, which is to nullify to the group. This is the only calibration I need. I just keep diminishing my egoism, not using it, making the friend's desires more important than mine. Supporting them becomes more important than what I want. Doing things for them starts to be more important than what I want to get and do for myself. That's all the calibration. Because as we move forward, all the time new things will pop up. Every new thing in me is going to be related to me and self-love. So how can I overcome them? right? I can overcome them if only I have somebody in front of me that I can work with. And that's the group. So there's no other way. The calibration can only be in how I'm acting and participating and including myself in the group the right way. Rightio. Let's move forward. But these three excerpts already, it's like a user manual. That's like really the Torah. Let's read number 4. This is for Ma'or Veshemesh. The essence of the assembly is for everyone to be in one unity and for all to seek but one purpose, to find the Creator. In every 10, there's the Shekhinah, which is divinity. Clearly, if there are more than 10, then there's more revelation of divinity. Thus, each one should assemble with his friend and come to him to hear from him a word about the work of the Creator and how to find the Creator. He should annul before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him, and so should everyone do. Then, when the assembly is with this intention, then more than the calf wants to suckle, the cow wants to nurse, and the Creator approaches them, and he is with them. And great mercies and good revealed kindness will be extended over the assembly of Israel. Let's read that again. The essence of the assembly is for everyone to be in one unity and for all to seek but one purpose, to find the Creator. Right? So this is an assembly. Right now we're in an assembly. Okay? Because this is what we're working for, right? We want to really engulf ourselves with the topic, with the matter of how we can bestow to the Creator. And the more we're stuck into this, the more we're constantly chewing it, the more we're kind of engaging with it, it begins to be carved inside of us. And that's what we want to do. In every 10, there's divinity. So we may not be a 10 right now in the group with everybody in their own 10, but even if we're studying together, right, all of us are like one group, 110. Why? Because right now we're sitting together and studying together. If there are more than 10, then there's more revelation of the Shekhinah, which is fortunate for us. We're about 23. Thus, each one should assemble with his friend and come to him to hear from him a word about the work of the Creator and how to find the Creator. So we're all here learning from Rabash, right? Rabash, and this is from Ma'or Veshemesh, the book, and this is a section from Vayechi. Right? So he should annul before his friend, and his friend should do the same towards him, and so should everyone. Then, when the assembly is with this intention, then more than the calf wants to suckle, the cow wants to nurse, and the Creator approaches them, and he is with them, and great mercies and good and revealed kindness will be extended over the assembly of Israel. So the group right now studying, if we want to find the Creator, all of us, then we're called Yashar El, right? Israel. And then the Creator will help us. Whenever we study and we want to attain this attribute of bestowal, love of others, want to bestow to the Creator, if we're all studying and if we're all engaged in anything with the 10 and the group with this intention, that means we're attracting the light. We're just pulling the Creator closer and closer. Why? Because we're growing our desire. Okay, so the Creator is drawn to us because what He wants for us and what we want is beginning to be similar through our search, through our study, and so on. Okay, excerpt number 5. This is from Rabash as well. Those people agreed to unite into a single group that engages in love of friends is that each of them feels that they have one desire that can unite all their views so as to receive the strength of love of others. There's a famous maxim by our sages: as their faces differ, their views differ. Thus, those who agreed among them to unite into a group understood that there isn't such a great distance between them in the sense that they recognized the necessity to work in love of others. Therefore, each of them will be able to make concessions in favor of the others, and they can unite around that. Let's read it again. Those people agreed to unite in a single group that engage in love of friends is that each of them feels that they have one desire that can unite all their views, so as to receive the strength of love of others. Now, here's an important thing we need to underline. Okay. And that is, each of them feels that they have one desire that can unite all their views. So in everything else, we can be 100% different. Everybody can have their own opinions, their own desire, their own culture, God knows what. Okay, everybody's different. But despite all the differences, Rabbi says all of your differences doesn't matter. It's not the point. What you should focus on is that one common thing that you all have instead of the differences. Okay. Now that makes life much more easier. Okay. Because normally we're all, you know, going nuts about our differences of opinion when we cannot really change anything about other people. So the whole world normally goes on and on and on trying to convince one another and to impose that their opinion is correct. Obviously, that's not going to add up to Jack. So what we have to do is the smart thing, which is what Rabash is saying, listen, you guys are all different, but who cares? We all want at least one thing, which is the same thing. Okay, so if we need to just focus on that thing. And if we all have a dot in the heart and we all want to attain the attribute of bestowal in order to connect and unite with the Creator, then everything else is irrelevant. This is the only relevant thing. As he says here, as the famous maxim by our sages, as their faces differ, their views differ. Thus, those who agreed among them to unite into a group understood that there isn't such a great distance between them in the sense that they recognized the necessity to work in love of friends. Therefore, each of them will be able to make concessions in favor of the others, and they can unite around that. This is the most important thing we must all understand. Sometimes people feel rejection towards others because of their corporeal traits, their personality or their worldly opinions. Okay. But that has nothing to do with spiritual work because all of that is a matter of corporeal opinion. And all of that is only related to our corporeal existence. So how a person, I don't know, let's say you were raised in royalty, right? Let's say you're prince. Okay, you're a prince or a princess. And I don't know, the street cleaner, right? So obviously we haven't gone through the same education, okay, the same cultivated, upbringing or whatever. And, you have manners, you know how to eat with your knife and fork. And me, I just stick my hand in the plate and like take whatever I like and eat it. But all of that Rabash is saying is irrelevant because that's got nothing to do with the point. So how you eat, how you speak can be different. What you think about life, how you think about the world should be, can be completely different. It's just it doesn't matter because everybody is a product of the environment. So nobody had a free chance or a choice in all those things in the first place. So some guy grew up like some redneck. I don't know where, in the midst of, where's a redneck place? Kentucky, Mississippi, I don't know. And somewhere, let's say you're the prince of, I don't know, Denmark or something, like Royale with cheese. Okay. And, it's just like, it's not your choice. You never had the choice of selecting your parents, your life, or whatever. But if that dot in the heart awakened and somehow we want to attain the same goal and we're looking, right, where can we find the meaning of life? And then we end up here, then all our differences on the corporeal level just doesn't matter because that's not the goal. All right. So we're not trying to turn some flower lady into a princess, like in Mayfair Lady. Did you guys watch that movie? That's a very famous movie. It's a very nice movie too. Okay. Mayfair Lady. So, you can transform a person into royalty if you work on them. Okay. But that's not the idea. The idea here is to just go above all those corporeal things and not waste time on irrelevant things and just keep your focus on what you should be attaining, which is the meaning and the purpose of life. So in the group, all our differences is a good thing for us because it allows us to go above these differences. And that allows us to give the creator all the importance because we can kind of nullify to everything if the creator is important. And that's why being different, having all these worldly differences that drive us nuts, is also a good tool to increase the importance of the creator, to say it's not important how my friend's getting dressed. It doesn't matter if, I don't know, he doesn't know how to eat well on the table. This is just irrelevant stuff. Okay. I speak, I don't know, 5 languages and he can't even speak his own native language properly. What kind of a person is that? All those things are just irrelevant. And in corporeality, we see people make a big deal about these things. But this is not our point. We're not here for some corporeal cultivation business. We're here for a spiritual cultivation. And for that, there's only one thing to focus on. We need to attain the creator, and we just do the things necessary to get the job done. And that's it. Just get the job done. And if we have that kind of an attitude, then we'll succeed because then we can all unite around the goal and the objective and stop focusing and worrying about irrelevant things. This kind of attitude will also make us more mature. Okay? It'll make us more focused. And we won't be running around like little kids complaining about other people. Rightio then. Excerpt number 6. There's a special power in the adhesion of friends, since views and thoughts pass from one to the other through the adhesion between them. Each is mingled with the power of the other. And by that, each person in the group has the power of the entire group. For this reason, although each person is an individual, he contains the power of the entire group. Now, this is also nice. When we all come together, we're all feeding off each other. This kind of starts to, in time, it begins to make the group more and more harmonious. We begin to find a mid ground where everybody can kind of like, come together. Since views and thoughts pass from one to the other, the adhesion between them, each is mingled with the power of the other. And by that, each person in the group has the power of the entire group. The more I'm connected with the friends, the more inner strength I will have. Okay, this is really important. If I have this connection with the friends, then I have inner strength, inner power to do things. For this reason, although each person is an individual, he contains the power of the entire group. Okay, so everybody is an individual, which means everybody has to maintain their individuality. Sometimes we hear people saying, well, if we all connect, what about me? What about my individuality? Well, your individuality has to stay because it's through your individuality that you're going to bestow. And this is why you're different from everybody else. Everybody is different from everybody else. This is very important because you have something that none of us have. And there's only something you can do that none of us can. And that is your contribution to the whole kli, to the whole vessel. But you got to figure that out. You got to find out what that thing is, because that's the thing you're going to use in order to bestow. So you're going to have to work on bestowing. As you bestow, you're going to figure out what's special about you. And then you're going to say, oh, I can do this. And then you start doing that. And then you complete your part in the vessel. Then you got something to do to bestow to others. Now, a lot of people in life, they don't discover their uniqueness. The reason you can't discover your uniqueness is because you're on reception mode. If you're on reception mode, you can't discover how you can do something because you're in the motion of getting things. When you're in the motion of getting things, you're completely restricted. But when you're bestowing, you are in discovery land, emotionally, physically, in every way, because you have to reformat yourself. And once you understand what your quality is or what your talent is through bestowing, then that is where you can be successful in anything and everything. And I'll tell you why. The whole world works on bestowal, despite the fact that we don't realize it, right? So you go to, I don't know, you jump in a cab, they take you somewhere, right? So they're bestowing to you. You go to the dry cleaners, they clean up your stuff. They're bestowing to you. You go to the restaurant, they're serving you. The farmers are, you know, raising their crops for you. Everybody is like working for you and for you to be fulfilled. So the whole world is actually working in bestowal. The dramatic problem is we're not. We're all doing it in order to get something. So I'm not really focusing on in life what I can give, but I'm focusing on what I can get. If you're focusing on what you can get, you can never really discover your talent and what your aspiration and inspiration is for and from. And thus, henceforth, you get a lot of people depressed in their careers because they thought if I choose this career, I can get stuff, I can get money. All right. but he's not thinking about, wow, if I do, I'm really good at this. If I do this, it can really turn out great for everyone. Okay. So if he thought about what he can do great rather than what he can get max, despite the fact that whether he's got talent for it or not, okay, this is why they end up being unhappy, end up in a job for the money, and they understand that they don't have an aspiration, they don't have the drive for it, the motivation for it, and so on. So they're like, oh, bugger this, let me change career. How old are you? 50. You sure you want to change careers at 50? And do you really? Okay. So by that time, it's a bit too late. Mhm. This is why you can only discover your talent, what you're really good at, what you can be happy at doing if you figure out where you can give and benefit others. All right. So that should give you a new perspective in career planning. Any questions? Okay. Just one. Okay. I don't see any questions here, though. I've already answered Ferhat. Okay, there isn't. Okay. So let's read a little bit more. This was number 6, right? So let's do 7. This is from Rabash. According to what is written, in the multitude of people is the king's glory. It follows that the greater the number of the collective, the more effective is the power of the collective. In other words, they produce a stronger atmosphere of greatness and importance of the creator. At that time, each person's body feels that he regards anything that he wishes to do for holiness, meaning to bestow upon the creator, as a great fortune, that he has been privileged with being among people who have been rewarded with serving the king. At that time, every little thing he does fills him with joy and pleasure. That now he has something with which to serve the king, to the extent that the society regards the greatness of the Creator with their thoughts during the assembly, each according to his degree, originates the importance of the Creator in him. Thus he can walk all day in the world of gladness and joy. All right, let's just break this down. According to what's written, in the multitude of people is the king's glory. It follows that the greater the number of the collective, the more effective the power of the collective. All right, so this is a matter of quantity, but in the wisdom of Kabbalah, quality is more important. Obviously, the more the merrier, as we say, but in Turkish, there's an opposite to that. The more, the the bigger the mess. Okay, so that's why. So it's a two-edged sword. But what we do need is definitely when we're studying together is to have the work should influence us, right? So it should have some kind of a qualitative aspect to it. We should be like, you know, strongly influenced so that we can constantly have that dot in the heart, kind of like pumped up and growing. In other words, they produce a stronger atmosphere, greatness, importance of the creator. So we can do that in quality as well, even if there are only like, let's say, 5, 6 people in a 10. But if they're tight knit, if they're close, okay, they can have a lot of power. It can be really strong. At that time, each person's body feels that he regards anything that he wishes to do for holiness, meaning to bestow upon the Creator, as a great fortune, that he has been privileged with being among people who have been rewarded with serving the King. So if the group is tight knit, and if the group is working nicely to increase the importance of the goal, then we can all be happy from the job, right? Because if I've got good work colleagues and we all love what we do, because everybody's like giving us good examples, everyone's giving us a good vibe, let's say. Okay. So if everybody's influencing each other nicely and we're all being good examples, giving a good atmosphere to the group, giving happiness to the friends, a good spirit to the group, then everyone will feel like they're at peace in the group. Okay. They'll feel like this is what I want to do in life. Okay. I want to be with these people and I want to attain the goal. And I will feel like I'm on the right path. But if things are the other way around, it's going to be a little pear-shaped, isn't it? And then you're going to be thinking like, oh, these aren't the right people. This is not the right teacher. This is not the right wisdom and blah, blah, blah. You know the rest. And they'll just spiral out. At that time, every little thing he does fills him with joy and pleasure that now he has something which to serve the king. Because if I'm with friends, if I'm with people that I love, it's easier to nullify. If I'm with friends who are good friends, or they're treating me nicely, I'm treating them nicely, everybody's like nullifying themselves, then because I get pleasure from being around them, I can bestow to them. Now, this all sounds egoistic. Of course it is. We're starting egoistically. Right? It's from lolishma to lishma. But we are mucking around with the idea of tricking our ego. What am I saying to my ego? Hey, loving others doesn't sound too bad. I could get used to this. All right. Because if the environment is good, I can bow my ego to bestowal. Mhm. To the extent that the society regards the greatness of the creator with their thoughts during the assembly, each according to his degree originates the importance of the creator in him. Thus, he can walk all day in the world of gladness and joy. So, among good friends, I can increase the importance of the goal. I can be happy that I'm on the path. I can be motivated, inspired, and I can then have the power to motivate and inspire others. All right. Okay. And Ingrid's asking, what if one eliminates all that one can't do? One can one find where to bestow? You can always find a place to bestow. This is really interesting. It's a nice question. But if a person looks into the group, you always find a place where you can give happiness to a person. You can. Bestowal doesn't have to be, I've got to move mountains for the group. No, you just make them feel good. You help them out. You give them a good mood. You're friendly. You know, that's it. Imagine having a positive person around you all the time, motivating you, helping you out. That's bestowal. We don't have to do something, out of the ordinary. We don't have to go to the moon and bring moon rocks for your birthday party. You know, it's the small things that just keep us all on track. And that's just being good friends, good friends and making sure that we're all on the same intention, the same thought, and the goal. And that's it. So it's the little things that really matter. And even just buying, I don't know, even just buying something they like. Let's say you know that they like marshmallows. And, on your way to the group, you buy a packet of marshmallows because they love it. Okay. And that's it. And that's already like everybody's on top of the game. Everybody's already motivated because everybody's got a marshmallow. I know it sounds like a kid's game, but life it is. Even with people we love. What makes us happy when we're with people we love? One little kiss will do the job. And that's it. One little hug, and you're done deal for the day. Right? Imagine you're leaving the house, going to work, and you get a nice hug, and everybody's got a smile on their face. That's it. At work, you are now a shark. You know you're getting the job done. You're fully motivated. It's the same thing in the group. It's these little things, but these little things that we need to do, everybody needs to do. Every day, just, bring a little bit of happiness to the group. and to the friends. And that's it. We're all happy chappies. I mean, if one is antisocial, that eliminates lots of bestowing opportunities in Kabbalah, almost all. Well, if you're in a family, let's say, I can't be antisocial, right? Let's say I've got kids in the family and a wife. I can't say, listen, we're married and I am your dad, children, but I am a little antisocial. So we are going to have to disconnect, unfortunately. Now, you see, I can't say things like that, can I? I have to be like in the game and I have to nullify myself a little bit. Look at what Rabash is saying. Some guys, in order to move towards something important, I have to make concessions. That's what Rabash is saying. He says everybody has to lower their self. So I'm looking at myself. I'm also very antisocial. It may not look it, okay? From the screen, it may not look like I'm antisocial. I am very antisocial. I can live on the third floor forever. And the only reason I go down is food. I can even get by without the bathroom. But food? No. Okay. So I'm also very antisocial, but I understand. I understand that in order to get stuff done, okay, I have to make sacrifices. And if it's for the goal, which is the greater good, okay, then I'm happy to do that. How? Understanding. Understanding that what I want to attain is beyond me. It's much greater than me. It's a goal which is way, way above me, and I'm happy to make concessions in order to attain that goal. It's a serious decision. It takes calculation, but nevertheless, whatever you want to attain in life, you're going to have to make concessions. There is no way you want to get something in life without making concessions. It is not going to happen. If I understand that, the only thing left to do is to increase the importance of the goal. And if I can get importance from the environment, then I can say, you know what? Bugger my anti-socialism. I'm going in full on. And that's the kind of attitude we need to have. All right. And that's basically it. Right. We're going to call it a night. I've got another program in 7 minutes. Okay. So next time we'll carry on getting ready for that February Congress. It's really important for us to all be connected, prepared. You see, the more we prepare for it, the more we're hungry for it. Okay. So then when we get to the Congress, we can be all like these little, I don't know, what they call it, love bugs. All right. Have a good night. All the best.